Malcolm, welcome to our Building Futures Career Conversations. Thanks for coming in. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm chairman and managing director of a SME contracting business in the southeast called Baxall Construction. Very much an evolving business, but it's been going for 60 years. Started as a builder, developed into a contractor, and design and build, and now going through an even bigger transformation.
So can you tell us a little bit about your career? So you're obviously very successful. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got there?
I went the traditional route through college and started doing a diploma in construction, started to do interviews to go that next stage. I wanted to work and learn at that stage. University wasn't for me, wasn't really that effective at that stage in my career. And I had a fantastic interview with John Lang Construction, and the guy who interviewed me asked me why I wanted to be an engineer. And I said, well, I like the outdoors and all that stuff. And he said, well, what do you want to be doing when you're 40? I hadn't even thought of that. I was 18, Christ. So I said, well, probably management. And he said, well, I'm looking at your CV. He says, I think you ought to go straight there. He said, and he put me in more into costing and programming, and very quickly I was into site management. That developed into a special program that Langs were running. I was running a bit quicker than they were, and I had an opportunity to go and join a family business in Tunbridge Wells, Tunbridge. Which I took. It was a big leap, but I loved it and developed it from there. But it was quite key that someone had told me to think beyond just the next few years. Very interesting for me anyway, big step.
So when you kind of reflect back, is there any sort of top tip almost or wisdom that you'd give other people who are working across the built environment and actually beyond that as to maybe a certain attitude or ways you made decisions that you would pass on as almost the wisdom of what's made you successful?
I'm going to sound like a father, but actually it is hard work, and it's having a really good work ethic, and I'm seeing that now in my own children and why they're being successful, and it's because they get on with it and they want to do something, and it's also actually understanding that you do need to build some resilience. Life's tough. It will have its ups and downs, and we all know the mental health, and I think we're probably more aware now than certainly when I was going into the work environment, how stressful and tough that can be for youngsters as well as people through their careers. And I think, but we have to understand that you need to build that resilience. You need to be able to understand the knocks, take them, learn from them, and become a bit stronger moving forward. But likewise, the other big thing that I've recognised, and it sounds like your college lecturer, university lecturer saying, read, get the knowledge, because your knowledge is what gives you, distinguishes you from your colleagues, from your competitors, from even the people around the dinner table. If you're sitting there and all you could do is talk about the football or whatever it was you saw 5 minutes ago or on social media, you've got no depth to that knowledge, you're not very impressive. And I think in business, in the work environment, to turn that knowledge into your advantage is absolutely key. So it's read, learn, podcast, however you want to do, but get the knowledge.
I love that. And I know I care passionately about ongoing learning and never feeling like you know it all, because isn't that boring if we feel that way? So we want to talk during this series around the big challenges, the big questions, I guess, that's faced across the built environment in construction and in property. And one of those is, how do we achieve net carbon zero? We know that the construction and property industries are seen as one of the biggest contributors to carbon emissions. And your own company is very, very focused on this particular area. When you step back, what do you think the industry needs to do or could do differently, but also what progress can you see happening already?
I mean, you're absolutely right. The industry needs to change. It needs to do things differently. We've been for too long in a siloed operation as in the built environment with consultants and contractors and supply chain, and all of these people not working together. And we actually have been failing our customers in what we're delivering for them, because we're sort of trying to push all the risk in the wrong places, generally down to the lowest common denominator. To be honest, I blame the lawyers and the accountants, but that's for another conversation. But actually, there is an opportunity with this absolute need. It's not, it'd be nice to get to net zero. Hang on, we've got to do this. This has got to happen. And the opportunity that gives the industry of rethinking how it delivers for its customers, but also for the other stakeholders, the people that are using the buildings, the people that are being taught, the children that are being taught, the hospitals, the patients, the office people that are working in those offices. And I have been very passionate about changing the business model. And it's much more around providing a whole life support to our customers, being a solutions provider in the built environment. It's a lot of words, but actually that's what it means. Is that what you're doing is you're taking all the good things and making sure they all link together, and that you're really providing that good service and delivering a better product, something that's more energy efficient, going in the right direction, something that actually is better for the occupants, the health and well-being of those people in that building. And actually that has in itself positive economic benefits by people are working and happier and not off sick as much, then the asset that has been capitalised, it actually really starts to earn its corn. But at the same time, we're doing things in the net zero drive and in the health and well-being of everyone around us.
And that's interesting, isn't it? Because in the debate around net carbon zero, we often focus on the E, as in the economic side, but the S of ESG is all around the social impact. And it's true that we do, as an industry, have a huge social impact on what we do. We build schools, we build hospitals, we build the way that people get from A to B. How do you think, as an industry, we can improve how we talk about the social value that we add to society as across the built environment?
You're right about talking, but I also feel that we should be demonstrating it. So what we're doing is giving opportunities for school leavers, people at school, at university, to come and do work experience with us. We've also extended that beyond to more mature people that perhaps just want to understand how to do it differently. And we're sharing the knowledge, sharing that across the sectors that we work in, either on the frameworks that we're on or with the private clients that we work with. And what we're starting to see is people going, hang on, this is different. This is about something that they haven't seen before. They want to do something different. They're being put under pressure for all sorts of reasons to improve carbon footprints within any business, whether it's a school, a hospital, an office, or our own homes. And they don't really know how to do that. And us, that's where one of the opportunities that I see that we have in the built environment is that we generally have got those skill sets. If we haven't, we should be learning them and developing those, so that we can then provide that to our customers. And that's already started for us. We've got several clients where they've made us effectively their built environment partner, and we're working with them to deliver exceptional performance, not just on the building projects, but on everything else that's associated with that, with maintenance, with use, optimisation, whole life, recycling, and so on.
So your organisation is very innovative in the way that you've been looking at green and the wider environment and the impact of what we do. I know that we've talked about some of the examples of what you've been doing. Can you share some of those?
Yeah, we've recently obtained funds for the Innovate UK government fund to support a project which is a knowledge transfer partnership working with the University of Kent. And we've employed an associate that's joined us. I never thought we'd have a doctor working for us, but he's got a PhD in AI and machine learning. And that project is to take the data from the completed buildings that we've been designing and constructing for over the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, and using that data, or understanding that data, as to how we can improve the briefing of future projects and operations of those projects. What's been interesting, we've been on it for now 3 months, is already that's developing, and the PhD, Dr. Ishmael, he is really excited about what it's starting to do. What was interesting is that he came from an academic background and has no experience in the built environment at all. And yet he's already got, in 3 months, really excited about what's going on. And that's where I see some real big opportunities.
So that's a really good point. How do we attract more people to come into the built environment as a sector and choose this as a profession? So we know that we want, as an industry, we all know we'd like to get better DE&I. How do we do that? You're obviously starting to achieve it, but how do we do it as an industry?
Well, we have to, I suppose we are an example of what can be done. It's about getting your message out there. It's about giving opportunity to those that want to hear, want to learn. And even those that are just curious. So a lot of, for just going back a stage to work experience, a lot of the guys, girls coming in to do work experience, we don't say, well, what do you want to do? We actually give them an experience that's across a whole different parts of the sector, whether it's design or the construction element or purchasing or surveying, accounts, even office management. And that broadens them, because what we're finding, and I've found it with my own children, is that they really don't know what's out there.
Yes, totally agree.
And it's how do you get that and give them that opportunity? And to some extent, COVID has even made that more difficult. But what we're experiencing is a real excitement, and several people that have come in for work experience over the last 5 years or so, we've ended up offering them job roles. And quite often in different roles than they thought. So they might have thought they were going to do quantity surveying, but they ended up being an estimator or going more into design. And that's really encouraging and exciting. But also it's not just about employing and training and developing people within the organisation. It's also that external face. It's what do people see Baxall and what they stand for. Why are they different? Why are the people seem to be really happy working for them? And why are their customers keep going back to them? And that actually needs to be a much stronger message. And we're starting to do that in our small way. We're an SME. I like to call us a bit of a positive disruptor in the built environment. We're using social media, we're using podcasts and opportunities like this to demonstrate that there is a different way. And I think that's really key, that it's showing what's different and being able to demonstrate it. There is too much talk, and that's a danger. And I've been experiencing that. I had a period where I was chairman of the National Federation of Builders. Absolutely loved it, great experience, learned a lot. Really did, about good and bad, I might add. But what actually has come from that is that I pulled back from that national support because I wanted to go, do you know what, I'm fed up with trying to convince people there's a different way. I'm going to go and do it and show them how it's done. And that's what we've been doing. So now it's sort of like demonstrate, show how why the success, what does success look like.
Because I think that there's an acknowledgement across the industry that we need to be more diverse, because I think we all accept if we are, it brings different points of view and we can all learn together. But I think it's also about promoting it as an industry quite at an early age, because as you've said, a lot of young people don't even consider it, therefore don't make the specific choices maybe for college and university, and don't even consider it, and then almost don't then never come back to it. So it's nice to hear that you're bringing people in who maybe are further along in their careers or academics or whatever it is, so they can get, because often when people come to the construction industry, they actually love it, but it's actually just encouraging it. If you had a magic wand, would there be anything that you would do just to try and get more people to come in the industry? What would you do?
It's about, it goes back to demonstrating it. We do attend careers events and we're showing what's going on. And we're trying to, as I say, use social media to show people's progression within their careers. So we've promoted a lot to people during the year. We actually put that out in social media and they can see that. But also they can see the diversity that's been developed. We have policies around equal opportunities and all the stuff, absolutely right, and it's right to do that. But we haven't got any targets about numbers. We need people to operate across our business, and we recruit the best people. And they go through a very vigorous and thorough process in order to be offered a job role. What is really positive is the result of that is we've got a really diverse workforce, which to me is the way round it should be. If we weren't attracting the right people and they weren't diverse, then we would have got it wrong, in my view. But it is interesting how that's happened. But some of the people that have joined us who sort of came in at it sort of slightly, so someone who was an architect who didn't realise that they could be a design manager, and when they were at school didn't think that opportunity was there, and they've developed into that role. Those are good examples, and they're good people to put in front of sixth formers to say, look, ask questions. Don't assume that just because your careers advisor's saying, oh, well, you don't want to go into construction because it's all wet and muddy and horrible. Actually challenge that. There are loads of opportunities and incredibly exciting job roles that are evolving, and it goes back to the net zero, it goes back to what I was saying about AI and the digital world. It is such an exciting place to be, but most people don't realise it. They really don't.
Totally agree. And that's kind of a frustration because, you know, we care passionately about the built environment and we know how exciting it is. And this is kind of the reason for having these conversations, is also to highlight it, to use it as a way to highlight this as a career for a diverse range of people, to know that it is a welcoming industry, that it is an industry that's innovative, as you've just said, and one that's truly going to change the world. And if people are attracted to a job with values, a job with purpose, a job that makes an impact, this is an industry that has all of those things. It's just about us saying as an industry, please come, because we'll offer you a great career.
I mean, if you were looking at it just purely from a business point of view, why wouldn't you go into something that's really quite broken and poor? And the young people coming into our industry now have got a massive opportunity to turn it on its head, to deliver something that it knows it can, but it doesn't know how to. And with the right people coming into the industry will be able, the built environment will be able to take off. And that's the key, is getting the right quality people. Without quality people in any sector, any business, if you're a lawyer, a legal firm, if you've got the poorest graduates or the poorest, it doesn't work. They want the best people, and that's what makes them successful. That's what we should be doing within our organisations to make sure that we can deliver. And there is such a big disconnect between good and bad, and such a big gulf is that come in and take these bad organisations and turn them into really good ones, and let's really show what we can do. Amazing. And the salaries and the rewards aren't as bad as people think when they actually get into it. And again, we should be saying, you know, people earn really good money. And they do in the trades, but they also do right the way through all the support, PAs and design managers, site managers, right the way through. It's a good career and it's very solid.
And you can travel with it. This is because I find myself in my own time a little bit of an ambassador for the industry, and having 3 sons and therefore a lot of young people that come in and out of my house. I often speak about it, and I always say to them as well, you can travel with it, because if you need to build a building in the UK, you need a building to be built anywhere in the world.
Absolutely.
So it is an attractive industry. It's just about showing young people how innovative it is, how much it's changing, kind of taking down some of the stereotypes they might feel about it, seeing that there's a diverse range of people that are in the industry, but also seeing there's a future. And the biggest problem facing humanity, which is how do we sustain this planet, is mostly going to be solved by how we deal and change the construction industry and how we deal with the buildings that are already built and how we evolve them. So it is pretty exciting, I think.
Oh, it is. And to be fair to the industry, or I'm not sure whether it's just the press within industry, if you look at what we've done across the world as an industry, it's amazing. We are invariably at the core of many big projects that have happened over the years, and that's still happening, whether it be in Dubai or Australia or all over the world. And as you say, the opportunity for a youngster to go out and travel and then perhaps come back to England when they want to have a family and what have you, but they haven't lost. They can bring all that knowledge and experience, and they haven't lost it, and they can put it then into a more local environment. And I think that's really key.
Thank you so much for that, Malcolm. I think there's been some really top tips there for people about their own careers, how important reading is, that continuous learning, about resilience and how important it is to build it up, but also working hard. And I also think there was some real learns there as an industry that we can share as how do we attract a nice diverse range of people into this industry with that promise of you can really change the world if you come and work in this industry, but also you can also travel within the world with it. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing that with us.
Pleasure.